Hello guys, welcome back to another video. I hope we're all doing well. So today's video we're going to be talking about purpose. So purpose, something, it's a bit wishy-washy. A lot of people might not be too familiar with the term. But in this video I'm going to be kind of explaining kind of what it is and how to discover it and why it is so important, why overall it should be your number one priority. So like I say, over the last couple of months or so, I've been researching a bit about purpose and finding out a lot more about it and like why it is actually so important and why it should be, like, for everyone, it should be our number priority to find our purpose and then kind of focus and dedicate our life to this. So I recently read the book The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida, which is really good, about masculine and feminine energy, but also it talks a lot about purpose. And this has really helped me kind of understand what purpose is, and kind of learning how to kind of discover my own purpose. I think the problem is for like a lot of people, they kind of do understand that everyone probably does have a purpose and that they have one too. Um, Yet they just don't really know what theirs is. I think a lot of people just kind of just go through their whole life with their eyes shut. They're just walking through blind. They don't really want to like open up their eyes and kind of see like what would be the best thing for them to do. Um, that it's just a lot easier to kind of indulge in like instant gratification and a pleasurable life. But to discover your purpose, you have to have that kind of time in solitude, as I did, and time to yourself to kind of really think like, what is my calling? Like, what is really important to me? What should I be focusing? What I might have like a burning desire to pursue? Um, and I think it's mainly like the solitude, like element side of it that you kind of really need. Like, you should just, if you haven't discovered your purpose yet, then I really recommend just going away for like a 2-3 weeks, literally probably just like on your own, go somewhere in nature, and just spend that time trying to discover your purpose. I think that's the best way to do it. You need to cut off all these distractions, this constant stimulation, just kind of like covering over the cracks because you don't want to face the reality at the end of the day. I know a lot of young people just don't want it. They don't want to discover this. But it's just going to cause you further problems down the line, because one day you're going to have to face life for what it is, and you can't just go through life just indulging. It's a lot easier when you're younger, and a lot of people kind of just doing the same thing, and you don't have these responsibilities, and it's not that important. But there will come a time when you need to kind of look yourself in the mirror and be like, what am I doing with my life? I've not discovered my purpose yet, and it will be a lot. I think it doesn't really matter when, but it will be a lot easier for you if you can discover this at an early age, and then kind of, like I say, dedicate your life to that core purpose. We have like one deep purpose, although there'll be like outer layers of the purpose too, smaller things that will be part of your purpose that you'll probably discover later in life. So it's not just like one thing; it will probably change over time, and then you focus on the one you feel is the most important to you now. Then just work towards that like relentlessly every single day. It should be the first thing like on your mind, like constantly. When you should be kind of obsessed with it, and that's kind of the beauty of it. It won't feel like a chore. It won't feel like your 9 to 5 like job that you hate. It when you find your purpose, that's not your purpose at all. Like, you will become obsessed with it, as I've done, and I believe everyone does have a purpose. Like, for us to everyone to be made, everything had to be perfect. Like, the two people that made us, the exact timing, like everything had to be perfect. Like, we weren't just like, I don't think like God would just put us onto this earth if there wasn't like a reason behind it. We weren't just put on to earth to be scrolling on TikTok and like jacking off 3 times a day. Like, it just isn't meant to be like this. Like I say, and once you do discover your purpose, you will start to just become obsessed with it. And I think for me, it's really helped kind of cut out a lot of my bad habits too, since I've been discovering it, because I'm not like really like, little things just don't seem as important anymore. Like, maybe like just talking to people I'd feel a bit more uncomfortable talking to, like going up to a girl, or like, yeah, just any bad habits, like just on my phone and stuff. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm wasting time. You realize how important time is, and you need to just focus in on your purpose. And if you're not doing that, you're gonna start to feel guilty, and that you need to get back to that like as soon as possible. um, you'll get to the point where you become like so focused on this, on your mission, that you just won't really have time to think about these other like little things that were important to you, because like it's kind of the overall thing that it kind of just takes over so much. I was listening to this podcast. I think it was Jay Shetty, who was a monk. So he knows a lot about purpose, spirituality, and all this type of thing. So he's like an expert in this kind of field. And in Hinduism, I think there were four fundamental purposes to life that kind of drive us forward. Um, and the number one fundamental thing that takes over everything else, relationships, money, serving others, is called the Dharma, which means purpose in Hinduism, and that is our number one priority. Um, and I was listening, and I think there was a study asking college graduates like if they would be happier if they were single compared to in a relationship. I think they asked them their happiness before, sorry, and their happiness was around a 7, and I think if they were single, that would drop down to a 3. If they got into a relationship, that it would be a 7, something like that. Anyway, kind of that, like the overall story of that is kind of just saying like a relationship is their top priority. Like they can't, like I think a lot of people think loneliness is a bigger problem than it is. Obviously it is. I know, understand loneliness is a big problem, but I think kind of once you do discover your purpose, you don't, that is not as important. And I think that takes priority, like I say, as it does in the Hinduism. Your purpose takes priority over relationships, over your finances, over like helping and serving others. All these 3 things are massive to our lives too, and they should never be neglected or anything like this. But it just kind of shows like once we have our purpose, and then we can kind of focus on these other things, and nothing else should kind of come in front of this. And a lot of people, like I say, as they did in the study, believe that being with someone is going to be the main thing that's going to make them happy. But I'm sure as people actually do get into these relationships, they kind of do realise that it's not the thing that's actually driving them and making them a lot happier. It is probably their purpose. And I feel like I can kind of relate to that when I'm like focused on what I believe is my purpose, which is like helping spreading this message of helping a lot of like young people with the lessons that I've been through, to kind of teach them to not have to go through the same thing. Through my knowledge and experience, just I feel like that is my core purpose at the moment, and I'm gonna like work relentlessly until I feel like I've fulfilled that purpose. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I kind of lost track of what I was saying there, but yeah, I think a lot of like young people, like I said, they think that relationships are far more important, but I've realised that is far more important to me than any relationship I think could ever be, because it feels like it's your purpose, it's your whole point of you being here. Like relationships that are going to last like a few months, like they'll come and go, and relationships will always be there, but your purpose, like that's kind of your core one, is going to be there for your life. And if you've not served that, then I guess you can kind of somewhat say you haven't succeeded in life, because you've been put on this earth for a reason if you're not fulfilling that purpose. There's definitely an argument for that, and I feel like for me to feel fulfilled is when I'm like kind of pursuing that purpose. At like the end of the day, when I'm working towards it, I just feel great inside of me. I feel like I've never kind of had that before. When I kind of think to like jobs I've had before that I haven't really enjoyed, or like pursuing careers, like when I was at uni, pursuing a career I wasn't really interested in. That wasn't my purpose at all. Like a job that you don't like, it's not your purpose. You got to discover your purpose, like I say. And it just feels so different. It doesn't feel like something like, oh yeah, I've got to do that work on this. No, it's not like that at all. Like sometimes it can be like a lot when you kind of feel like maybe I should just chill, but then you're like, oh no, there's kind of something like burning inside of you. You're like, I need to continue to pursue this. I can't just take a step back from it or anything like that. And back to relationships, I want to go back to that a bit. I think you should already discovered your purpose before you then try and find someone who is suitable to kind of match you on your journey, and hopefully you can match them on their journey too. That's like the best case scenario. We shouldn't be looking for kind of someone who can fix us and then maybe they help us find our purpose. It is up to us that we discover that first. So it was a massive reason for me why I never really wanted like to commit to a relationship where, when I didn't feel like I truly discovered myself, what I truly wanted, my mental health wasn't where I thought it should be, and it's not fair to kind of inflict that onto someone, as I feel it wouldn't be unfair for them to do the same to me, and I wouldn't want that. So it's only right for me to do the same. So like now I feel like I've discovered that the best case scenario for me would be to kind of have someone there who can kind of support me. They've got to be in line and want to support me, because I think you see a lot of people that kind of with someone that doesn't really care about the other person's purpose, and it's quite destructive really. And I don't think you should be with someone if they can't you shouldn't be with them at all if they can't support you along your journey. Then it's just not going to work out. You need to find someone who's like aligned with you. You can help them, they can help you, they want to support you. Like obviously, yeah, you could do this journey alone. Of course you could. It might be easier at the start, but in the long run, I think you definitely find it way more fulfilling to have someone there to kind of support you, who can kind of like match your energy, and you kind of like, you're in this together. I think that's like the best case scenario. And you want to support them too. You want to find someone you can support their journey too. And like I say, like with the other areas of life, like I'm saying, like your purpose is your number one priority, but I'm definitely not saying like neglect the other areas like relationships, finances. If I feel like you can definitely sort that kind of financial area out through your purpose a lot of the time, but obviously it can vary. Not all of them will be where you could get financial gain, but I feel like you can get money from anything these days. It's easy. There's an abundance of money out there, so if you put your mind to it, you probably could. But anyway, like serving others, etc., finances, then I feel like, yeah, they can't be like neglected. And obviously if you need, whenever your friends, family need support, you've got to be there for them. But purpose has to remain your number one priority. But like I've said, when it comes to your purpose and being in a relationship with someone who doesn't really like support you, they don't really care about your dreams, they're not really there for you, they're not right. Like you have to discover your purpose first, and then once you've had this, you have to find someone you have to think about this and align them with what you want to do. See what I think you've got to think about their morals, their values, and if their goals are going to kind of, if their morals and values will kind of match what you're trying to achieve, and if you can kind of match them too, then I truly believe you can have an excellent relationship. But a lot of people just won't even consider this, and they want it instant, and they won't take time to kind of find someone who can like support them for the rest of their lives. But I truly believe that is the best way forward. So like finding someone is your purpose first, and then relationships come after. So yeah, this is kind of, I don't know an abundance about like purpose yet. I'm still learning, but from like what my understanding is, this is kind of where I've got to so far. I'm going to do a couple more videos on purpose because I think it's so important, and I want a lot more people to kind of discover their own purpose, because like I say, I do believe everyone's got their own. And I know a lot of young people just haven't discovered that at all, and even like adults, like people in my family, I know it's quite clear that they haven't discovered theirs either. So I want to help as many people as possible discover theirs. And like I say, taking the steps of just spending some time in solitude to think really what is my calling? What am I doing now? Is this really my purpose? Just think about it, guys. So yeah, I hope this helps in kind of helping you understand a bit more about purpose, and maybe help discover your own purpose too. So if you could like, share, subscribe, link below if you want to register to work with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. Peace.